The three-day event to strengthen India's startup ecosystem showcases over 3,000 startups from 50-plus countries, was inaugurated by Union Minister of State for IT Jitin Prasada. Multiple interesting innovations on display, including a flying taxi made in India and startups from prominent Indian institutes across the country. One of the key forces behind that event, Prashant Prakash of Axel Partners, joins me live. Prashant, thanks very much for speaking to us from that event. What's been the key focus of the second edition of the Startup Mahakumbh this year?
This year's the Startup Mahakumbh is larger and covers more pavilions. In last year we just had about 8 pavilions, and this year we have new pavilions such as AI, deep tech, space tech. We have the manufacturing sector also very well represented. We also have more than 3,000 startups this year compared to just about 1,500 startups last year. We also had more than 1,000 mentoring. We will have more than 1,000 mentoring sessions over the next 2 years. So we focused on ensuring that startups who come to the Mahakumbh have something to take away, both in terms of meeting other startups in India, from India and globally, meeting investors, and being able to collaborate with other startups.
Very much for joining us from the Startup Mahakumbh. Also with us this evening, Venk, Krishnan of Newware, a noted Bengaluru VC. We'll also try and go across to a young startup voice, Nischal Rapi Reddy, from that Startup Mahakumbh, co-founder of the Ascription Private Limited, showcasing some innovative ideas like Godar at that Startup Mahakumbh. Venk, first to you. We're talking of an era of Trump's tariff actions. That's the big global concern. You're off to the US from the Startup Mahakumbh. What are the key challenges you foresee from the venture capital ecosystem point of view?
I think still from a venture capital perspective, I think we are still positive. But I think one thing which will be of concern is the travel to the US for these startups, startup founders, because I am hearing more and more that, especially since Trump has arrived, there's more and more scrutiny on visas, be it B1 visas or business visas. And the second thing is employment, in the US, hiring H-1B people to send them to US, or, trying to find ways to get them to work in India. So there is going to be some challenges which I believe can be overcome over a period. But I think at present, that is one issue where VCs are really grappling with and saying, what companies can invest so that these current situation with what Trump is putting together is going to impact us.
Right. Interesting point that you make there, Venk. In terms of the local factors as well from India, what would be the key sort of areas for startups to be worried about and perhaps be bullish about in terms of sectors as well, as you're seeing from the Startup Mahakumbh and what's been on display? You've often spoken about AI and tech, but specifically in terms of sectors, which are the sectors that are really doing, that you would possibly be bullish on as a VC firm, and which are the sectors that you think are best to keep away from at this point of time?
I think, India is still a consumer market, and there's going to be a lot of companies innovating in the consumer space. And that has been the trend in India. But coming down to the opportunities, I think more and more AI-driven, like what Prashant had mentioned about, applications using AI is where the opportunities lie within India, right? And I think I keep repeating this. One of the biggest advantages India has over many of the other countries is the fact that we have the largest software resources in the world, right? And some of these people have learned a lot of domains, having worked with big corporates in the US, right? So they have great domain knowledge, and that is an area where we can really leverage to a large extent in terms of developing AI-based solutions to some of these applications. So I think those are the opportunities which India has, and I think obviously SaaS-driven AI, or whatever we call agentic AI, which we talk about, is going to be opportunities which every VC will be looking at, because ultimately, other than the consumer space, I think US is the market for any of these kind of products.
I'll have to end this conversation right now. Thanks very much to the both of you for joining us here on the Southern View.